Let's start the hour in Nigeria, where Boko Haram militants are said to have rampaged through the village of Kuda in Adamawa state, killing at least 18 women at a funeral. Now, during that attack, which took place on Thursday, houses were set on fire amid random shooting. According to some reports, some women who were present at the funeral are still missing. The numbers of those killed has not yet been independently verified by authorities. Now, Kuda is close to the Sambisa Forest, which is known to harbor the majority of the Boko Haram militants. The same village was last attacked by militants in February this year. Well, let's get to more on this now. We're joined by CCTV's Sophia Dengo, standing by for us in Abuja. Sophia, information on this particular attack is still a little sketchy at this stage. What more do we know? And has there been any response from government or local authorities in Adamawa State?
Well, Lindy, Nigeria suffering a security setback in the last 48 hours in Adamawa state. Now, Adamawa has seen brutal attacks from Boko Haram before, and although the Nigerian military has significantly pushed back Boko Haram in this area and taken back local government areas that were otherwise overrun by Boko Haram, these attacks, of course, still continue, this time in a small town next to Sambisa Forest, very near, an area that is known to be prone to Boko Haram attacks. But the key really here is that, once the attack started, there was a delayed response in getting to this small village simply because, there had been some level or semblance of peace restored to this specific area, although curfews still continue to be put in place just to be able to oversee the security measures in the area. And as of now, although the dead and the injured are still being counted, it's suspected that about 20 people have died as a result of these recent attacks, and many more injured. It's also been noticed that the attackers came in not only destroying property, but also looking to claim foodstuffs and looking to take people back with them. So as the story, of course, unfolds, it is obvious that perhaps there are continued attacks of Boko Haram, specifically in this state of Adamawa. Lindy.
And Sophia, sometimes it feels as though, it's one step forward and two steps back when it comes to fighting Boko Haram. As you say, some key successes in areas like Adamawa State. But of course, as you mentioned, small villages remain very vulnerable to attacks by Boko Haram. What are critics saying about the Nigerian military strategy in defeating Boko Haram?
Well, Lindy, when President Muhammad Buhari was put in as the president, at the end of the day, what he was saying to Nigerians and the world is that Boko Haram and fighting the militant group would be his first priority, stepping up troop numbers in specific areas, especially in the northeastern part of the country. Now, those successes have been registered here in Nigeria with less attacks, although they are these pockets of fresh attacks as we have experienced in the last 48 hours. And also, in addition, President Muhammad Buhari, knowing that Boko Haram is not only operating here in Nigeria, but in an area or an enclave geographically known as the Lake Chad Basin area, and would require the input of 5 other countries, namely Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and also Benin, in really reducing the numbers and these number of attacks. And that has been registered with a great number of success, with their headquarters in Jamina in Chad. But of course, Nigeria still has to contend with these such attacks as experienced in Adamawa, in which there are surprises on small communities, and it will require more intelligence, not only from cross-border allegiances like the one that we have seen with the co-op, but also from these small villages in allocating or understanding where these small pockets are, and limiting the movements of small arms in aiding in these attacks that we have seen, unfolding in the last few hours. Lindy.
All right. Well, thanks very much for that update, Sophia Dengo, on that latest Boko Haram attack in Adamawa State. Now, of course, security forces in Nigeria have indeed stepped up vigilance around mosques and prayer grounds across the country. Now, this follows reports that Boko Haram is planning to carry out many suicide bombings during this year's Ramadan period. Here's more on that story.
The Ansaruddin Mosque in Nigeria's capital Abuja is one of the mosques that has increased security surveillance to stamp out any potential dangers for fasting Muslim faithful. Security officers have been seen patrolling the areas surrounding the mosques.
We have prepared ourselves because we informed the police, the civil defense, including the anti-bomb squad. Originally, we have our own security internally, but the civil defense officers, they do come in daily. Because, as we're breaking fast in the evening, a lot of people will come around as we're feeding people here. So a lot of people come around, and definitely they need to be screened so that we'll be able to protect ourselves and the property.
Tajuddin Oyedumaje, a businessman and worshipper, acknowledges the support they've gotten from the Nigerian government.
I have heard about the security threat, but I'm not bothered, I'm not worried, since I believe this country, our government has provided adequate security for us, and even in this month, they have their own special security around. I'm not bothered. We only come and worship God, and I don't care about any threat anyway. And I believe that nothing like that will happen.
Mosques in Abuja have recorded an unusually low number of Muslim faithful streaming in to break their Ramadan fast despite provision of free meals. The capability of Boko Haram has been significantly degraded in recent times, limiting their ability to carry out bombings only in the northeast, but security forces in other parts of Nigeria still remain vigilant. Leslie Murungu, CCTV.